Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we are going to use our little bit of MDF, which is a manufactured board, to create our animal shape, our animal person thing. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our animal template. There should be enough for 1 or 2 per table. Please do look after them because they're not the easiest things to come by. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my template right in the corner of my MDF, not in the middle, right in the corner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a sharp pencil and I'm going to draw around my template. And there's also 2 holes. I don't know if you've noticed that, but there's 2 holes above the N and above the A. I'm going to get my pencil, I'm going to place it through the hole, and I'm just going to make a little dot. Perfect. Now I need 2 pieces for the body, a front and a back if you will, or for 2 sides. So I'm going to take the template, I'm going to place it on the opposite corner like so. And note how I'm not rushing this, I am taking my time because once I draw this it will become apparent as to why. And then don't forget the 2 dots. Oops, it moved, doesn't matter. And there, okay. I don't have much spare space. So all of this MDF has been cut out to make room for the template and take into account that maybe perhaps a mistake or 2 might be made. What we're next going to do, because it's easier once it's flat and as a whole piece, is on the animal template, it's hard to see because it's clear, but there are some measurements here, lots of numbers. Our animal is going to be standing up, so we need to make 2 legs. And to do that, we're going to cut out a middle section of the MDF to make those 2 legs. So we need to mark out this rectangle. And I know a lot of you are going to go, oh, can't we just draw it? No, we're going to mark it out because reading a ruler is an essential skill for design technology, and we're going to learn how to read a ruler. So if you feel like you're already confident with that, do feel free to skip over to the next part. But let's learn how to read a ruler. I've got a ruler here. Our rulers have different metrics. And what I mean by that is they've got different numbers. So this ruler here, I've got centimeters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. And then I've got inches. We never, ever, ever work in inches. So don't be worrying about that. I know a lot of traditional industries still work in inches. We do not. So you don't need to worry about these big spaced out numbers. What we work in is either centimeters or millimeters. So I've got 2 rulers here. The top ruler has goes up in 10, so 10, 20, 30, 40, etc. The bottom ruler, ignoring the spaced out numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 millimeters and centimeters. They are the same numbers, except millimeters are 10 times bigger than centimeters. So what that means is 20 centimeters would equal to 200 millimeters. 10 centimeters, 100 millimeters. So if you don't have a millimeter ruler and your teacher says, right guys, I need you to measure out this box and it is 160 millimeters by 13 millimeters, you need to divide those numbers by 10. So 160 would bring us to 16. And then we don't have, or we do have points on here, but 13 millimeters would be 1.3. So to get to 1.3 on a ruler, every little black line represents 0.1 of a centimeter. And the biggish lines that poke out between the numbers represents 5 or 0.5 centimeters. So I've got 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, all the way up to 0.9. And when I get to the 1, I've got 1. I've got 1 whole unit. So if I wanted to find 1.3, I'd go to 1 and then I'd count 3 little black lines, 1, 2, 3, and that would give me my 1.3 centimeters, which is also known as 13 millimeters. So your teacher might do a little bit more work with you on that one. I'm only telling you this because we have, obviously because we need to know about rulers and metrics, etc. But we have 2 different types of rulers in our tool cupboards and we always work in millimeters. So any number that's given to you, always assume it's in millimeters, not in centimeters. So I'm going to work with my millimeter ruler. My amazing template, which I don't know if you can see, which I think you can, is telling me that the rectangle that I need to measure and mark out on both pieces is 25 millimeters high. So to measure and mark that, I'm going to turn my piece of MDF. I'm going to the bottom where the rectangle is going to go, and I'm going to measure 25 on my ruler, which would be 2.5 centimeters because we divide by 10. And I'm going to make a little dot. Perfect. I'm going to do the same a little bit further up. Now, it's important to note that when you mark your material, you don't draw along the ruler like that, because look, you're going to be marking out 6 or 8 different measurements. You're marking away. So I'm going away from the ruler. It's almost like I'm actually pointing a little arrow saying this is the measurement here. So that's 25 millimeters all the way down. And using a light amount of pencil, I'm now going to draw a nice long line all the way down. Perfect. So that is now my 25 millimeter channel, and I can actually use the template to check that I've got it right, and I've got it right. Excellent. Now, if I flip them around, I can see that on both sides I need to go 25 millimeters inwards, because my legs are going to be 25 millimeters wide. Excellent. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to put it along the shorter edge, and I'm going to mark 25 millimeters, and I'm going to make a little mark. I'm going to do the same for this line here. So I'm moving my ruler to measure 25 millimeters, like so, and I'm making a little mark again. And on the other two, 25 millimeters, 25 millimeters. However, some of you are probably going, all right, okay, now we're going to move the ruler up and we're going to do that again. No, we're going to use my favorite tool. We're going to use this thing here. It's called a tri-square, and it's my favorite tool. It's my favorite tool because technology just cannot replace this tool. A tri-square creates a right-angled edge. It's got a stock, which is this handle bit, and it's got this bit of metal, which is actually called a blade. It's not designed to cut into things, but it's called a blade. And what you do is you hook or place the tri-square right against the edge of your material. So we're not doing it at an angle, we're doing it so it's nice and flat. I'm going to move the blade, so the metal bit, underneath my 25 millimeter mark that I measured earlier. And then using my pencil, I'm going to do a nice clear line, going down to the edge. There we go. And I'm going to do that all the way down. So slide my tri-square down, go to the 25 millimeter mark that I made earlier. Perfect. And again, we do that all the way down. So I should end up with what looks like 6 boxes, because I have 3 on each. So I'm actually going to flip that around because the edge has got too small, so I've flipped it around. Just got to remember to go away. Perfect. So there you go, I've got 6 boxes, 3 on each leg. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We are only cutting out the middle one here. So to remind ourselves of that, so we do not go wrong, we're going to use an industrial term called hatching. It's a very simple term. It's not colouring in. You simply get your pencil and you draw yourself some diagonal lines, like so, in the area that you're going to get rid of. So as I said, this is an industrial term. If I went into any manufacturers, any warehouse, any factory, and I handed them that bit of MDF, they would know that this square is what I need to go. They would know that straight away because it is an industrial term that's used today. I can also use my animal template to make sure I've got it right. Yep, look, spot on, that matches beautifully. And again, check it. And I probably sat there like, oh, but why don't we just use the template? Because measuring and marking out is an essential skill for design and technology, which is why we go through this little practice. So there we go. That's how you measure and mark out your animal shapes for your animal.